Hey guys, so hopefully the September list comes out soon to shake up the format a little bit, but until then, I thought I'd bring you guys another few ranked gameplays with commentary playing Cyber Dragons, except this time we now have Red-Eyes Dark Dragoon, and as bricky as the package can be, man, this card is so strong once you bring it out, and it makes me a lot more comfortable even when I'm forced to go first. And if you want more replay videos, consider liking the video and subscribing. Anyways guys, I'm not gonna keep you guys waiting. Let's move straight on to the first match against Adamancipator. Alright, so we don't draw any interruptions, and it's actually pretty bad when you draw a Red-Eyes Fusion, so we're just gonna let him go off. Now, I actually don't scoop against Adamancipator for game 1 because I want them to see that I'm playing a going second deck, and that way they at least have a little bit of doubt when post side for game 2, whether they're not completely sure whether I'll go first or second. And so because I'm definitely going first against Adamancipator post side, so I want them to have that little bit of doubt on what they should side. Whereas if you kind of scoop right away, then they're gonna obviously think that you're probably gonna go first for game 2, and they'll side in their going second cards. So that's generally what I like to do, even though it does take a while for Adamancipator to do their whole combos. So nothing new here. Hopefully Block Dragon gets hit on the ban list and we don't have to deal with this crazy of a combo deck, but who knows, one can only hope. And looks like our opponent has multiple interruptions, and we draw the Red Eyes for turn just to add insult to wound. And well, he uses the Abyss Dweller. We special summon the Cyber Dragon. He does use IP and also uses Cerberus to pop. And to be honest with you, that pretty much is it for us. So we are just going to concede after the core does get hit by a negate. Alright, so game 2, like I said, we are always going to go first post side against Adamancipator. I have a very awkward hand here, so we're just going to use the Red-Eyes Fusion. Fortunately, it doesn't get hit by Ash, so we're going to bring out the Dragoon and set the summon limit. And to be fair, against Adamancipator, that's actually a really good card, so hopefully that's enough. So our opponent is going to use the Analyzer. We're just going to let them get 2 monsters. He uses effect, brings out the Doki Doki. So at this point, I'm just going to wait until he sends for cost. And boom, summon limit, and he is pretty much stuck there. So he does pass turn. So here, I'm going to use Dragoon and pop both of his monsters, burn them. And then I do summon the core. I search the overflow just in case somehow I don't kill him, but here I do play Machine Dupe and concedes because I can special summon the 2 Cyber Dragons, even though under summon limit, because both of those monsters summon at the same time, and that would be my second summon. So now we're going into game 3, and he actually forces me to go first, so I'm kind of relieved that I kept the Dragoon package in, because I was thinking of taking it out if I was going second, because Adamancipator, you need all the interruptions you need, or you can get, but looks like our opponent doesn't have any hand traps of his own, so we are free to go off here. And we're gonna do the Nova, go into Almirage. This is our 5th summon. It's fine if we get imbued. We have enough extenders to keep playing, but it doesn't seem like he has anything. So we're gonna go into Infinity, and now we can bring out Dragoon. So like I said, our turn 1 going first board is just so much better now because of this bad boy. And we're gonna suck up the Anaconda so that we don't get hit by Super Poly. So we do set the overflow. Our opponent is gonna use their kind of rock Cyber Dragon of their own, and we're just gonna let him get 2 monsters on board. And now I will pop both of them with the overflow. But looks like our opponent still has the Doki Doki and has the Block Dragon in hand to summon it. And here I do use Infinity to negate. Now it does not get destroyed because of Block Dragon. And looks like our opponent concedes. I mean, next turn I have the Repair Plant that I didn't use in the previous turn intentionally in case I had to search for the Jizukuru instead of the Galaxy Soldier. So I could just Kaiju the Block Dragon and then kind of burn, pop and burn with Dragoon and kind of go for the kill. Alright guys, so on to our second replay. We are going against Odd Eyes Pendulum. So we have an Ash to interrupt on our opponent's turn. And our opponent's going to start off with the Magician's Souls and send the Dark Magician. Pretty interesting. And uses Abductor and just kind of plays their general draw cards. And he does activate Sky Iris and tries to use its effect. And I do Ash here, so he gets stuck on a pretty bad scale with Abductor and Jackal King. And he's just gonna search off of Duelist Alliance. I'm just gonna fast forward here because I don't have any interruptions at this point, and our opponent is just gonna add the Dark Worm and use the typical 1-2 punch with Pendulum and Dark Worm. He can't do too much this turn with the scales that he has, but he does bring out Helki Fibrax, and here he uses Dragoon he uses Anaconda rather, to send Magicalized Fusion so that he can bring out Dragoon. So that's interesting. And well, he passes turn there. So for turn we draw the Overload Fusion. So we're just going to special the Cyber Dragon and get rid of the Anaconda for Mega Fleet. And then we'll use the Repair Plant to search the core. We do have Forbidden Droplet, so really I'm not worried when he tries to negate with Dragoon. So we search the emergency, and we're just going to keep it simple. Go into Seeger and use Overload Fusion, bring out the Rampage, and just go for the kill. And we use Rampage effect to pop spell and traps. Now our opponent uses Dragoon's effect, and this is where this is where Forbidden Droplet is so good because it does not target. So we do negate Dragoon's effect, and its attack is also halved. So Rampage effect pops the Sky Iris and the Scale. We're also going to send Hertz and Core, add Core to hand with the Hertz effect, and now we can proceed to go for the kill with Rampage and Seeger, boosting it up to 4200. So our opponent does concede, and we are going to game 2, and we are forced to go second. And I don't have any hand traps, so let's just fast forward here. And our opponent kind of just starts off with the similar play and sends Dark Magician off Magician Souls and summons the Dark Worm to get the gate 0 and plays draw cards, search cards, the typical Pendulum shenanigans. And he is going to be able to actually resolve Sky Iris this time, add the Revolution Dragon, and use its effect again to add Dark Worm. So now he pen summons and brings out the Selene to special the Dark Magician. They're going to use Servant to bring out the Mighty Master, and they're going to use the whole Cross Sheep shenanigan with Selene, and then bring out Selene now. And now he gets another Mighty Master back, but looks like he's going to go into Anaconda and bring out Dragoon once again. And he sets one and plays Secret Village, so that is looking pretty oppressive here. So here I normal the Naxxu because I don't want to risk it getting destroyed if I try to special summon it. And I go into Anima because it is a spellcaster, so that I can activate spells now. And I was going to use the Emergency to go into my second Naxxu and then pitch Fear to summon that. And at that point I would be able to use Droplet as well and send off the Naxxu and other cards in my hand to negate their effects, and they wouldn't be able to respond with monster effects, and I'd be able to go into Rampage using Overload Fusion. But it does get met with Imperial Order, so that plan gets foiled, but it's okay. On to game 3. So we actually decided to go first for this one, because now that we have Dragoon, I'm just a lot more comfortable going first. We do draw the Dark Magician though, so that's pretty unfortunate, but it's okay. We still have enough to do our plays and get our trusty Galaxy Soldier to go into our Nova Infinity play. So we do add the Cyber Dragon off of Hertz, and we're just gonna do the typical shenanigans and use Nova's effect to bring it back. That way we have another body to go into for the Anaconda, and we're gonna use its effect and send the Red-Eyes from our deck and Dark Magician from my hand, and we're going to also use Infinities to suck up the Verde Anaconda in case our opponent has Super Poly. So we have the Ogre in hand, so we're going to save that for a Servant. So we're going to, for the most part, let our opponent do most of the things. Now he does summon Pancratops, so I have to be careful with Infinities negate, because then if I negate, then it goes to 25 and he can run it over with Pancratops. We're going to let him get the Servant because we can pop it. He does use Sky Iris, that's totally fine with me, and gets the Revolution Dragon. And so he's going to use that effect to get the Dark Worm. And then he used Duelist Alliance. I'm like, okay, sure, let's let him get the pen call and then we'll negate that. So we do negate with Dragoon. I end up discarding the Naxter, and our opponent does have Forbidden Droplet, but he decides to send Skyrus and pen call as cost. What he should have done is Pinkertops, because then I wouldn't have been able to respond with Infinity. And our opponent realizes his mistake, but he does get to run over Infinity with the Pinkertops. But for turn, we draw the Foolish, where now we can send the Hurts, add the Naxter back to hand, and then Naxter can summon out the Nova, so it can go into our second Infinity. And here, I use Dragoon's effect. My opponent doesn't even bother chaining Pinkertops effect because he does realize that I do have game sooner or later, and so he does concede here. Okay guys, on to our final replay, which is against Altergeist, one of our dreaded matchups for quite some time, and I must admit I was pretty sad when Multi-Faker came back to 3. So they are going to lead off with an Extravagance like any Altergeist player, but we do have the Ash here, so hey, he only sets 1 and pass, so that's looking good, pretty good for us. We get the core off of Emergency, and so we do try to use this effect, but it does get met with a Solemn Strike. So we're just going to use our Repair Plant to get the core for the next turn. We do have another Repair Plant, so that works. We're just going to set the Forbidden Droplet, but he does have the Meliseek, so there goes the Droplet. And looks like he doesn't have much of a play still, and just goes into Link Karibo and adds the Marionetter. Okay, so we are now going to try that again, and we're going to use the core, gets hit by Veiler. Okay, so in that case, we'll just search the Naxter so that we can special it out, and then use Machine Dupe on the Naxter, because core's hit by Imperm, so I don't want to bring out multiple cores. So if I target the Naxter, I can bring out the OG Cyber Dragons, and we can do our typical play, but looks like our opponent sees the writing on the wall and concedes here. So for game 2, we're actually forced to go first, and I don't get that often from an Altergeist player, but we have a good hand going first. We can set up, Infinity and Dragoon, but I decided to actually just pass because we have Lightning Storm and Evenly. Alright, so he's gonna start off Extravagance again and use Marionetter to get the Protocol. We could use it Evenly here, but it's not really beneficial, so we're just gonna save it. And our opponent does set a couple more cards. Okay, so we lead off with the Lightning Storm, but our opponent does have Spoofing and Protocol, so he's gonna get the Multi-Faker, which is totally fine for us. I want him to summon that Multi-Faker so that we can evenly it away. And that's exactly what happens. So he does get rid of everything except the Slick. I summon the core, get the Overflow, just to pop any set cards I have, and I do have the Machine Dupe as well, so we are looking pretty good. And so we're just going to do the Infinity play. I think I may have cited out the Dragoon package for this one again, and that's why I didn't go into it. But so here I decided to just use the Overflow, and he tries to use Slick to bounce, and Overflow, it doesn't banish for cost. That's what my opponent thought it was, and I do negate the Slickitus with the Infinity, and so Overflow just fizzles here. An opponent is going to set 3 cards and pass, so looks like he's starting with the Imperm, clearly a bait, but I have to negate anyways, and it does get hit by the Compulse, so we use Core. Okay, it gets hit by Imperm, but it's a good thing we drew that Ref System, because now we can just go into Anaconda, bring out the Rampage, and we do have Cyber Dragon, so now that is going to be game, and our opponent does see that. Okay guys, so that's it for today. Another 3 replays with commentary with Cyber Dragons, but with Dragoon this time. Hope you found that interesting, and if you want to see more replay videos, comment in the video below. Consider liking the video and subscribing. And well, that's it for today, and I'll see you guys another time. Take care.